These thoughts up in my head, things I never did. I took some L's, but I'm still here. I got these thoughts up in my head. I toss and turn about some things I never said. I got regrets about some things I never did. I took some risks and took some L's, but I'm still here. And I know.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Overthinking Thoughts Pod. I'm your host, Ed, and as always, journey with me as we pursue greatness in a world full of chaos. We're back at it again, episode 46. Moving and grooving, man. Apologies for last week. For some reason, my camera decided to cut off. So I still have audio. I still push through. It's kind of what we do. We try to overcome circumstances. Try not to overthink it too much, but I definitely reshot that episode way too many times. But it is done. It's out. It's episode 45. If you haven't had a chance to check it out, make sure you tap into that. Other than that, as far as just life in general, things are going well. We're getting into a really busy season. Everybody's moving around crazy. People are tired, but we're making it through, and that's all we can do. At the end of the day, it's my job to do my best for my wife and my kids and make sure that I take care of myself. So that's what we'll keep doing. But I hope that things are going well for you. I hope that life is guiding you in a great direction. If it's not, just remember that storms don't last forever. There's always sunshine after the rain. So you just have to continue to stay focused on your mission and keep going down your path, because the journey is meant for you and it's going to work out the way it's supposed to. Just some quick things. Just make sure, as always, if you're trying to tune in to the Overthinking Thoughts Pod, I am over on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Spotify as well. And then for the visual viewers, you can catch me over on YouTube as well. Feel free to like and subscribe. And then I'm also on the social medias. You can find me at Instagram at OverthinkingThoughtsPod. You can also find me on TikTok at OverthinkingThoughtsPod. And we'll make sure, that we keep producing as much as we can. And I would be remiss if I didn't shout out the Residual Impact Podcast. That is a podcast that is one that, when I first really started this journey, was one that I found, and they're phenomenal, man. They do a really good job. So make sure you check out the Residual Impact Podcast. I was watching the latest episode where they were talking about, it's less than 6 months. Like, what's your plans for the remainder of the year? And I had did a podcast a while back where I was talking about, like, a year ago. It was like, I think it might have been my year episode where I was talking about, a year ago, I told you, like what you waiting for? And then I'm like telling you now, like, I made progress. I'm here now. And whatever it is you holding on to, just keep going. So I'm watching a podcast and that clip came on and I said, wait a minute, that's me. So you just never know who can utilize your work or your words for good. So I hope that message resonated with their audience. I hope that it resonated with you all as well. But shout out to those guys, man. They are phenomenal. I believe it's Brandon Gio and J. Michael Moore. So shout out to y'all, man. Y'all great. So with that being said, let's jump into the episode. This is episode 46, which is so crazy to think that when you start at 1, you're just hoping to make it to 2. And then once you get to 2, you're hoping to make it to 3. And that's kind of the theme I want to talk about, because the past couple of weeks have been really crazy for me in the sense of, like, anxiety. So my anxiety's been trying to get the best of me. I'll be real honest with you. There's been some moments where, like, I'll just be minding my business and it just kind of comes out of nowhere. And I'm just kind of sitting there. I'm either thinking about, like, what are my next steps? How am I going to make it through? Or sometimes it just comes out of nowhere and I'm not really doing anything. Like, this is how trippy anxiety is. The last time I did this, I remember I was at home. My son was in the other room watching Bluey. I'm cooking, getting stuff ready because my son was at football practice. My wife goes to go get him, right? I'm in the kitchen, and, like, certain anxiety pains I know, like fatigue. Sometimes I get, like, tightness just because of stress and things. And I had this moment of where, like, I felt fine, but then my anxiety was like, something must be wrong because you don't feel any pain. Yeah, something's definitely wrong. And then my chest started to tighten up, and I was just like, what is going on? And then just recently, I was, trying to put this podcast together. I got extremely tired, and I had to go into work, give a presentation the next day. So I'm feeling decent throughout the day, not great, but And then I'm standing there while the presentation is going on, and I just start to feel lightheaded, lightweight dizzy. And I was just like, man, I hope I don't like crash. Like, and that was a sign to me that my mind was just working overtime. And I say that because I know a lot of you all may deal with the same thing. And then ironically, I got home, I was like crazy tired, and lay on the couch, open up TikTok just to try to, take it easy. And this live pops up, and it's this woman, and she's just like, I'm just so stressed out. She's crying. She is sitting in her driveway before she's walking into the house. Her husband's inside taking care of the kids, and she knows that she has to get herself together, but her body physically just can't do it. And she's at this point where she's just ready to let go. Like, she's breaking down. And so I like jump in the comments, like the live comments, and I'm like, yo, take it one day at a time. I know how you feel. Like, we rooting for you. You ain't in this by yourself. And she said something that resonated with me that I know a lot of us who deal with anxiety think about. She says, I don't want to go day by day. I just don't want it, period. And I get it. That's the thing with anxiety. Like, it sneaks up on you. Sometimes it makes you create these situations or these scenarios in your head that you really don't want to deal with, and you're just thinking to yourself like, man, I just want to be done. I want to be done. I don't want to deal with that anymore. And people from the outside looking in will see that and say, you know what, you don't, like, just let it go. And sometimes it's hard, especially when it hits out of nowhere. I mean, but the one thing that I feel like has kept me going, or at least put me in a position to kind of challenge myself, I just tell myself I got to make it through. Because here's the thing about anxiety: anxiety may exist, but it does not control, nor does it. It's not your identity. That Anxiety is not your identity. It might be a part of you. It might be something you have to deal with on a daily basis, but it doesn't define you. You don't have to let it direct you. And you can also find the root of what it is that causes you to be anxious, and that allows you to get back into some normalcy. So, although anxiety might exist in your life, it does not have to take over your life. And we have to find those steps to be able to calm ourselves, recognize the real from the fake. And then once we recognize that, do our best to be in the moment. And I'm telling you that because, yes, it is something I struggle with, but I keep pushing through, or I keep telling myself, I got to make it through. And I'm telling you that you can make it through as well. So recognizing what it is that might be that root cause, recognizing, what are those moments that make you feel real antsy. There used to be times I always wanted to be a part of the crowd. I wanted to be around people. And sometimes now I see big crowds and I'm just like, I'm going home. But I also realize I have that power to be able to do that and control like what works and what doesn't work like that. It's something that I wish I didn't have, but something that has kind of snuck up on me. And I know a lot of that just deals with my thoughts about past mistakes, past failures, life choices, but it is very true when they say, your past does not dictate your future. Because the moments in life that you have can direct you into better situations. It also will allow you to learn and grow from mistakes that you've made or choices that you've made. And you just have to be very careful with how you navigate your life. But I will also tell you, although, and going back to that lady, I know that, we don't want to go day by day. We really just want it to be over with. But ultimately, we have to take it day by day, because we spend so much time wondering about the next day and the next day and the next day that it could steal the joy of the current day. And I don't want your joy to be lost in a moment of frustration or anxious thoughts or overthinking or being overwhelmed. I still want you to be able to enjoy that, because you have a life to where you can truly appreciate the things that come your way. There are good things that are going to happen for you. There's good moments that you should celebrate. There are people that see the good in you, but we can easily erase that when we let our anxious thoughts take over. And so I think the reason why I really want to talk about this was because it just wouldn't shake. Like, some days it just be there. Like, I'll be honest with you right now, my shoulders are tight. I'm tired. I knew I had to get an episode out. I was stressed out about last week's episode because I wanted things to work out. But, at the end of the day, I was still able to put out an episode. I was still able to collect my thoughts and be able to put myself in a position to do well. I was able to then, you know, show up and see another podcast that's using something that I said in a positive way. That doesn't happen if I let certain outcomes and certain situations destroy me. I can't be destroyed if I follow God's plan. I can't be derailed if I take the path that He's laid out for me. And I can't be defeated because I know He's given me victory. And as I remember those things and I repeat those things to myself and I quote scripture, cast all your anxiety to Him because He cares. That's 1 Peter 5:7. I'm getting that tatted on me because I need it. I need that reminder. But to know that promise is out there, it lets me know that no matter my situation, it does not have to be the truth. And anxiety can tell you a lot of lies. You don't have to believe the lies. Seek the truth. Because once you seek the truth, then you can realize where your footsteps are leading. And it allows you to breathe a little easier. It's definitely something that you got to work on. It's definitely a process. It's something that I know isn't pleasant, but yeah, it's definitely hard to deal with on a day-to-day basis, and it doesn't always feel good. But life's the same way. Like, you're not always gonna be on top forever. You know what I mean? You're not always gonna be in the number one spot. Things change daily, but it doesn't have to stunt your growth. It doesn't have to take you away from the things that you're fighting for. It doesn't have to, stomp on your motivation. That's not what we're here to do. We're here to make progress. We're here to make positive impacts. And I know that sometimes anxiety will make us feel like that's not what we're supposed to do. And for people that don't have anxiety, one, whatever. I don't mean that for real. But honestly, for people that really don't deal with that, I know from the outside looking in, it looks like, well, you just worrying, just let it go. When you've conditioned your mind to be in that position and you're surviving more so than thriving, there's really no easy way to do that. I will say this though, from a side point, one thing that definitely will help, you should try magnesium glycinate, and not the Walmart Kroger versions, but go to an actual vitamin shop, get the real deal stuff. Get it's high efficiency and it absorbs well and it helps with helping your body feel normal. Magnesium glycinate at night. Oh man. Either take it with a meal or make sure you take it with a glass of water, full glass of water. And then just relax. I sleep so well, and it has the better side effect of, say, melatonin. I feel like you take melatonin, you'll go to sleep, but then you wake up mad groggy, sleep drunk. Magnesium, you wake up, you feel good, you feel refreshed. You might still be a little tired, but you don't feel that grogginess, if that makes sense. So that's a shameless plug for something that's worked with me. Another thing that I think that helps, especially if I feel tense, if you try the 4-7-8 method, which is a breathing method. So you breathe in deep for 4 seconds, and then you hold it for 7 seconds, and you release it for 8 seconds. And what it does is it helps your body come back to terms and come back to grips with where you are and really deal with reality. And also sometimes you might just have to go to sleep. Just take a nap, rest. The important thing you need to do is listen to your body, because your body will let you know what it needs. We are in that, we got to grind hard, no sleep. I don't sleep. I don't get tired. Yes, I do. I'll be tired, okay? I work hard. I'll be tired. I'm going to sleep. My wife can attest to that. I'll be out cold. And our little son will wake up, open the door, and be in our room just messing with stuff. And she's a light sleeper. I am the opposite of that. So I don't be hearing it. But I also, sometimes my body need that, and it's important to have somebody, whether that's, a spouse, close friend, accountability partner, whatever, that can recognize those things, so that way they can be with you and be in your corner. And knowing that not every day is going to be easy, but every day is a good day to make it a great day. We just have to take our time. And I know that can be stressful for a lot of us. I know that it's a cloud that's over us and things that we got to deal with. But I got to look at it from a different angle now because my son just recently got diagnosed with general anxiety disorder, which we talked about it, and I'm like, yeah, man, like I understand why you feel the way that you feel. And he's going through that right now and he's trying to figure out what to do. I'm not happy that he has this, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not happy that he has to go through this, but I am blessed because I feel like when I was younger, if I would have known that I was having anxious thoughts and I would have had somebody helping me through, then I probably would have felt a little bit better. But because of my experiences and because of the fact that I've had to go through this, now I can be with him. And so when he has his moments of where he's like overthinking so much, I'm able to recognize it and try to calm him down as best as I can. My wife does a really good job of talking to him and calming him down. And some things you just have to like work yourself through. So there's certain things like he's like, I can't sleep. I'm thinking about this, this, and this. It's like, okay, well, I want you to work yourself through this. You're either going to worry or overwork, or you're going to find steps to take your time to then analyze what it is that you're facing. And he's going to learn. It's a process. It is what it is, but it's what we have to do in order to get better. And that's what we'll do. So it ain't easy. It's not thrilling, but the one thing that I can think about is it's amazing how God can utilize your weakness and turn it into a strength. It's amazing how something that you may suffer with can be the very same thing that you can use as your source of strength for other people. And recognizing and utilizing that gift is so key. One, for yourself, for personal growth, for spiritual growth. Two, for the people around you. Because then when those dark clouds start to loom, you're the bright light that enters in. So make sure you keep shining, all right? That's the goal for you. And I know that things get difficult. That's just the way, like I said, that's just the way life is, but we learn how to manage. And so recently I've just been telling myself, like, okay, make it through. But how do we make it through? On days where it seems like life is coming at us too fast and we're going from point A to point B without any breaks, how do I make it through? I recognize what I'm feeling. I recognize my situation. I control what I can't control, and I let God take care of the rest. That's just what I do. And it works sometimes. And other times you might notice it, but I think being honest about it is just like, yo, I'm feeling anxious. I'm trying to get through. People understand it then. Like, all right, cool, we got you. Like that's a very like it's it helps keep you comfortable because then you're like, you know what? I really appreciate the fact that you are allowing yourself to, be a crutch for me in this moment because it can be stressful. And I know sometimes we don't like to put problems on other people. That's why I was like, yo, if you got the capacity to help me, I appreciate it. If not, I'm still gonna find a way and I'm gonna make it through. Like I had to make it through that speech. I knew once I started talking that I would be able to stay focused. And so in that moment, having those conversations and being able to connect with people, like that helped me tremendously. I ain't gonna lie, when I got finished, I got in that car, I was exhausted. And I just like it was rough. But then I had to think about like my week was crazy. It was my son's birthday, so we had to celebrate him. So we were out all day Saturday, had a football game, which he did a really good job in. So we were out all day Saturday and then turned around and did it all day Sunday, had 4 basketball games, then had to switch that and go straight into work mode of trying to help students, help people, help myself. Like trying to do all those things at once can be very stressful. But you gotta learn how to, rest and take breaks, man. I got a coworker, I commend him so much. I don't know if I could do this, but he'll recognize when he's tired, that lunch break hit, he be out cold. He'll be like, I'm gonna take that nap out. And like the first couple times he did it, it was just funny because like you walk past and he's just there laid out. But then I thought about it. I said, man, he's gonna feel real good when he gets up. Like, and he'll tell you, like, man, I need to take that nap. And he knocks it out. So, listening to your body. recognizing what's going to help you versus what's going to harm you. And also like realizing, like I'm coming to grips with the fact that like I'm about to reach a milestone birthday next year, God willing. Thank God in advance. And I'm starting to realize there's just certain things I can't do anymore. I like like I love basketball. I'll go to a gym and shoot around and maybe do like some shooting drills and stuff like that. But I think my 5-on-5 days are done, man. And I recognize this. I remember I subbed for a good friend of mine playing in a league and played 2 back-to-back games. I think it was like 7 and 8. Won both of them. The first game was a competitive game. It was hard. I think we won by like maybe 8 or 10 points. The second game, we were so tired. And then this group comes in, right? And they're all like really good basketball players. You know what I'm saying? I'm talking about like really good basketball players. The one guy I was guarding was all over the court. And I just was getting frustrated because I was the guy that had to chase him around. But we won. And I felt good after the game. When I got in that car, I was like quietly was thinking to myself, I was like, yeah, this might be it. And so I think I'm gonna devote my time to coaching my son, and hopefully I gotta start praying on this more. But I really want to get back on the high school sidelines. I really want to get back to that moment because those were moments that I could enjoy. And like although I would feel like anxious about certain things at that moment of time when I was on the court dealing with that, really wasn't thinking about anything else, man. I was having a good time. Granted, I was yelling a lot and I was on my feet the majority of the time. That's neither here nor there. The important part was I was doing something I enjoyed. The kids were able to relate to me, and it was something that I could look back on and say, man, this really like made me feel good. So one day, Coach T might make his appearance back on the high school sidelines, but until then, I'm chilling, just waiting on God to tell me what to do next. And I think that is a key in anxiety in general is just, even though we feel anxious, we have to take our time and just take it easy and try to get to the next step. I know that a lot of what we talk about is easier said than done. And I know that it's very easy to look at a situation from a distance and not necessarily think about it. But then once we're in it, we're consulting with 4 or 5 different what ifs and different scenarios. And the one thing that I think is really helpful was talking to my therapist. She told me to always like recognize in that moment when you start to feel that way, think about like what's triggering you. And then what you do is you find the root of that, of what it is, but then you take the truth out of that. So here's the root cause of what's making me feel crazy. Here's the truth about it. Can you control this? No. Is it a life or death situation? No. Is this situation going to impact this, that, and the third? It could be yes, it could be no, but you start analyzing it that way. You break it down until it gets smaller and smaller and smaller, because then you realize that you might have created a huge story of something that really doesn't exist, but our minds are so creative. That's how powerful you are. Your mind is so powerful that it can create a situation that you could think in your mind and see how realistic it can be. So then I guess what I would say is, how about we step back and use our mind to then create positive situations for us of making it through and achieving goals and not worrying about if we do this or do that and what about this and what about that. Like let's do it the right way. You know what I'm saying? So, just me talking about anxiety gives me more anxiety, but I also know that these are things that come and go. The truth is that if God is with me and he tells me that I can cast my anxiety on him and he tells me not to be anxious in everything, but I can talk to him through prayer and I can give that to him, then that's what I'm going to do. That's for me. I'm very, well, I try to follow God and do the best that I can. Still some areas I got to work on, but I also know that I can call on him and he'll be there for me. So whatever I'm necessarily feeling, I check it. But then I also remember, like, okay, God, like if I said that you were going to be in control, I got to have you be in control. Like right now, if I'm listening to my body, my shoulders hurt. I'm tired. I really just want to go take a nap. I know there's things that I have to do, but I also know that, God will provide that opportunity for me to get what my body needs. And I think it's very vital for you to also analyze what's going to be good for you, what's going to help you be successful. So I wanted to use this episode to focus on those things because I know that it feels like I might be going through it by myself, but I also know that there's other people out there that might be struggling or dealing with the same thing. So listen, anxiety may try to have a hold on you, but God's got a bigger hold on you. Hold on to that promise and know that at the end of the day, you can make it through. And, if you're one of those people that needs motivation or additional support, I hope that you can look at my podcast and see like a person who struggles with stuff like you is still finding ways to put out positive content, finding ways to try to help people as much as I can. I know that that's my purpose. I know that's something that God gave me. I know that that's something that God put into my heart. So I got to use the gift. We talked about that last week, unwrapping the gift that God has given you and using that to the best of your ability. It may come with some things, but at the end of the day, we're going to learn and we're going to grow and we're going to do the best that we can to be the absolute best that we can. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. So here's my task for you this week. Whenever you feel anxious or whenever you feel overwhelmed, whenever you start to overthink, I want you to just be in the moment. I want you to break down those thoughts. I want you to ask yourself what's real and what isn't. And as you start peeling back those layers, start removing those things that you don't need. Start putting those things to the side that you have created and focus on what the truth is. Because then once you get to the root, then you can start tending to if there is a bigger issue. If it's just something that's minor or temporary, then we know that this too shall pass. And even the bigger issue, maybe you get to that point, but you realize at the end of the day that it's something that can be worked on and it's something that can develop you into a better person. So take the time to analyze your mind, analyze your body, but do not let overthinking or anxiety or these crazy thoughts overtake you. Use it as time to grow and become better. And at the end of the day, you can be a success story. You could be a better person that overcomes these things. And yeah, you're going to have some times where that stuff might pop up. But hey, at the end of the day, you're still you. And what's true is that it's not your identity. It's not. It doesn't define you. You've got bigger and better things to accomplish. These things try to get in your way, but just know that you can step over them. And once you start to make the steps, you'll look back and see that what looked like crazy situations or roadblocks were really just steps to get you to the next level. So level up and make it through. All right. So with that being said, I think we'll wrap this episode up. This episode 46. As always, appreciate you tuning in, listening to the Overthinking Thoughts podcast. You can catch me, like I said, over on YouTube, checking out the Overthinking Thoughts Pod channel. I believe it's Overthinking Thoughts Podcast. But then also you can, once again, check me out over on Spotify, on Apple Podcasts and Google Podcasts at the Overthinking Thoughts Pod. And you can also catch me on TikTok and Instagram at Overthinking Thoughts Pod. I hope you have a blessed week. I hope that life treats you very well. And I want you to be kind to others because you never know the battles that they're facing. But you just might be the light that they need to continue their shine. And as always, remember that I believe in you. Now go believe in yourself. It's the Overthinking Thoughts Pod. I'm Ed. We out.
These thoughts have been in my head. Things I never did. I took some L's, but I'm still here. I got these thoughts up in my head. I toss and turn about some things I never said. I got regrets about some things I never did. I took some risks and took some L's, but I'm still here. And I know.